We have a horrific and graphic report to share with you. Over 30 Christians have been beheaded by the Islamic State Mozambique.
When will we see justice? I'll tell you what I've not seen. I've not seen any arrests from the revelations in the Epstein files, over 3 million documents describing horrible things, describing unspeakable things.
The world seems to be getting crazier and crazier. When we thought it couldn't get worse, 3 million files dropped confirming our worst fears. That royalty, princes, presidents, politicians, billionaires, all of them caught in this disgusting organization doing horrible things to children. And I know a lot of people in the church are wondering, God, where are you? How can you let people with such power, such wealth, do these awful things unpunished? Why have you not stopped them? What are you doing to prevent this? How do you allow these kids to go through these horrible things? How do you let, all around the world, we see other atrocities, like Christians being beheaded, being slain. And it's so easy to get lost and wondering where God is in this day and age. I want to answer that question today. But before we do, there's an elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. In fact, there's a bigger problem that causes this confusion, that causes us to question where God is. And that is the sin of the modern day church. Now, I know everyone loves to get on camera and to get in comment sections and talk about how bad the church is. Oh, Paul would write a letter if he saw you. Oh, he would do this, he would do this, he would do this. And there may be validation to some of those, and to a lot of them there probably isn't. However, there is one major sin that has taken the traditional modern day church by its throat. And that sin is forgetting its first love. See, the church has lost sight of the true gospel of Jesus Christ. We've replaced it with worship songs that talk about how good God is to us. We've replaced it with messages talking about how God will defeat every issue we have and how he's our best friend and how he's always by our side. And those things are certainly true. However, there is a deeper gospel that is not being taught to the modern day believers. In fact, statistics show us that 2 in every 3, not 1 in every 3, 2 in every 3 believers can't even articulate what the gospel is. Statistics show us that 6% of Christians actually have read the entirety of the Bible. Statistics show us in the youth generation, as they grow up, 75% of youth fall away from the faith as they age. And this is due to the church watering down the gospel. What do I mean by that? In fact, this most recent Sunday, I got a call from a previous youth student I used to mentor. And he's like, Aaron, I don't understand how God can allow XYZ situation to happen in the files. How does he allow this to happen? If a Christian proclaims God and they say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and then they get martyred, then where is God in that situation? Does he actually honor his word? Is he actually a good father? And there's a bunch of confusion. And I'm realizing the church, because this kid no longer goes to the church I go to. I'm like, he's never been taught the real gospel. And yes, sure, I could have done better as a mentor in his life. So that falls on me and other mentors in his life. Not only that Sunday, but I was in service and a great message was preached. I love this message. As it was being preached, we were talking about things of how we are the head, not the tail, how the work God has done in us, he will finish, and all these amazing scriptures to encourage us. And I had a realization that the average church in America, these types of messages of how good God is to you, how he's there for you, is all they ever hear. Not only that, when I got home, I was with my wife, we were listening to worship music, and I turned off a song I love because I was getting mad after all these things unfolded, because the song was talking about how God is going to take care of all our problems. He's going to take care of all our problems. We can put our trust in him. And yes, all these things are true. I'm not here to say they're not true, but we run into a problem. I want to show you this problem. If we go to Joshua 5, okay, we see this instance where Joshua is walking and he sees the commander of Yahweh's armies holding a sword. And he asks the commander, are you on our side or are you on the enemy side? And it's very commonly preached to us that God is on your side. He is for you. He is not against you. He's on your side. He is with you. in your workplace. He's with you, he's with you, he's with you. And it's very commonly preached to us. But the angel of the Lord's armies doesn't say that, yes, we're on your side. He says something way more profound that if we understood this, it would probably change everything. He said, I am neither for you or for your enemies, but I am for the Lord. And I think we have failed to communicate as Christian leaders, me, like I'm including myself as a young adult pastor in this. We have failed to communicate that it is not about God being for us, but it's us being about for him. It's not about God, can you help me get this job? Can you help me do this? It's God, what do you want me to do? Joshua's reaction to this angel giving this statement was to fall on his knees and say, what do you ask of your slave? He didn't say, what do you ask of your son? What do you ask of your best friend? What do you ask of your slave? Now, obviously, if you've seen any of my content before, I'm huge on sonship versus slavery. It's too easy to get into a slave mindset while serving God. But there is a awe, and we see Joshua's message here, Paul talking about how he's a slave unto Christ, is saying that, let my will be denied, but God, I live only for you. And this message is not preached almost at all in church. Instead, we get a gospel of how God does everything for us, not how we should be following after his will. If you want to actually understand the real gospel, the climax is in John 1:14. It says, and the word became flesh. God became man and dwelt among us. He dwelt among men. God, the infinite, became finite to come dwell with his creation as a human being. And we saw his glory, the glory of the only one begotten from the Father, full of grace and truth. I love the second half of that verse. And we got to see his glory. We got to see the glory, the only one begotten from the Father. Saying we got to see in Jesus the glory of God. Like this is what it's all about. The entire Bible points to this God becoming flesh, and it is glorious. And we've taken our focus off the glory of Jesus Christ, and we talk about how he overcame the cross, yes, but for us and what he can do in our lives and things like that. And obviously, he died on the cross for us, but it's for a specific thing, for us to come into becoming one with him, okay? It is for the communion of us and him to become one, okay? When two people get married, the two become one. We are Christ's bride. He is coming back for his bride, and we will become one, okay? So that is the goal. When we start taking our focus off of it, and we start putting our focus on earthly things, possessions, promotion, business, whatever it may be, getting through struggles and things like that, we run into this issue of incongruency. That's not what Jesus came for. So when we run into situations like, hey, this person was beheaded and he's claiming Christ until his dying breath, you say no weapon formed against me shall prosper. God, are you a liar? What's going on? You don't actually know what's going on because you haven't been preached truth. Here is the truth. You cannot be murdered, okay? If I were to take this is a pencil, but imagine it's a knife. If I were to take a knife and put it to a Christian's throat and say, I'm going to kill you if you don't do this, 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 I'm not threatening you with a knife. I'm threatening you with death. If someone threatens the R word against someone or does that to him, what they're doing is threatening violation of their body, okay? So the threat is death or defilement or harm or things like that. The thing about that is death has been defeated. Yes, you could take that knife and you could cut my throat right there and I could quote unquote die. But then I go to live with Christ and then he will give me a new body and I will live with him forever. So sure, you can kill me in this moment, kill me, but I will live forever. You cannot kill me because death will never taste me. I will never taste death because Christ has defeated death. I think we see in Hebrews 2 that Jesus killed death so his people need no longer fear it. Yet the idea of being headed for standing on your faith is scary to us. Why is it scary? If we truly believe that Jesus has defeated death, then the fear of death is gone. The fear of death stalks Christians. Okay, people are afraid of spiders, they're afraid of airplanes, they're afraid of heights, they're afraid of being alone or whatever it may be. All of those. Ruchi, you're not afraid to be on an airplane, you're afraid to die. You're afraid it's going to crash and that's going to be the end. You're not afraid of spiders. You're getting afraid of being bit and dying. Afraid of being alone. You're afraid of being attacked or whatever and dying. So it's ingrained in us, this fear of death. But when we really understand the gospel, when the gospel is actually taught to us, the fear of death is removed because death has been defeated. We will never taste death. Death will never taste us. Second, we cannot be defiled. Sure, you can do whatever. You could shoot this body. You could do whatever you want to this body. However, a new one is coming that will be perfect and it will be fully righteous unto the Lord. We see this in Philippians 4, and I think 21 or through 25. I'm going off memory, so I might be wrong. Just read all of Philippians 4, and then you'll see, because it's a great passage. We see that our citizenship is not of earth, but it's in heaven, and Christ is coming back to restore us to greater bodies, to eternal life. So these things that happen on earth, yes, they are awful, and I'll touch on the awfulness and what to do about it in a moment, but we have to understand that the gospel shows us that whatever happens here on earth, there's something far greater going on in heaven. Okay? If I have to take a thumbtack and I have to stab my finger for me to enter a beach of paradise for the rest of my life, then that is worth it. If my life is horrible and all I have to do is prick my finger so I can go and stay in paradise, that is an amazing deal. And you may be thinking here like, Aaron, you're making small the situation people go through. To what we will have in heaven, no matter what we endure on earth, if it's brutal death, martyrdom, whatever it is a prick on the finger compared to what is to come in heaven. So, that being said, I know I'm talking a lot, but how do we actually deal with these files? Like, okay, Aaron, I get it. Like, it makes sense. Death has been defeated. We don't need to worry. Jesus, he's giving us new bodies. He's coming on the clouds and he will judge the wicked for what they do. So this unrighteousness will not be unpunished, and he will take us to live eternally with him in a place that's full of joy. Okay, I get it, the gospel. But what do we actually do? Okay, should we just do nothing then? And that's not the answer. Okay, we actually see, and I think it's Matthew 26. I probably should have got my verses ready to go, but since I'm not 100% sure, it's going to make you actually go study the Bible, which is a win. But we see Jesus talking about feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, visiting people in prison, taking care of the sick, and things like that. We see Jesus' heart for the least. In fact, he says, what you do unto the least of me, you do to me also. Okay? Now, this isn't said in that specific passage, but if you've ever read the Bible, you know God's heart towards the innocent. We should also protect the innocent. The defenseless, the people who need our help. Christians are supposed to bring heaven down to earth. We are ambassadors of heaven. We are the temple of God. Wherever we go, heaven should follow. So does heaven like what is going on, what's being revealed to us in these files? Absolutely not. It is appalling. It should make you feel sick in your stomach. But if your answer is to get mad at God and do nothing, or be like, okay, God, well, new day is coming and do nothing, then you are wrong. The answer is to do something. We need to bring heaven to earth. It doesn't matter if it's donating to different ministries or different organizations that prevent this stuff, or using your own voice on social media, or doing something, speaking against it when you see the innocent in danger, standing up, putting your life on the line to protect what is right and to uphold values. Then we do what we have to do. Okay? So the answer is not to do nothing. It is to bring heaven down to earth. In your work life, bring Jesus. In your home life, bring Jesus. While you walk on the street, bring Jesus. The more heaven that comes down to the earth, the better it looks. And heaven doesn't come on its own. It comes through you. So what I'm going to do is down below, I'm going to link some places that help with a lot of the stuff that make us sad when we read through these files. I'm going to read through them. I'm going to check them out. A lot of these places I probably have not personally called and vetted and things like that. So do your own research into looking into them. But it's people I've known of and I've probably donated to in the past that I personally feel good about. But do your own research, check it out, and do something. Okay, if you're going to sit there and be like, oh, this is tragic, but you won't put $1 towards helping, you won't, take your time and do anything, then you're not actually upset. Okay, we prove how we feel by our actions. Love is proven by sacrifice. Okay, so if you love people and you hate the atrocities being committed against them, then sacrifice. I don't care if it's finances, I don't care if it's time, I don't care if it's ambition, whatever it is, sacrifice so we can bring heaven to earth. Anyways, I appreciate you all for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.